The recent legislative session ended with updates to workers' compensation. Catherine Stone from Barbas Law is here to explain about the updates. And Catherine, I thought of you when I saw Governor Rick Scott signing this into action. It deals with PTSD and workers' comp. Explain what it was.
Okay, so in workers' compensation, as we've talked about before, in order to have a compensable injury, meaning an injury that the workers' comp carrier will pick up and pay for, it typically always had to be, or it had to be, a physical injury first. So you had to have some physical injury that could maybe manifest later into some type of mental condition, but you couldn't have a mental condition first. And so what ended up happening was, after, unfortunately, the Pulse nightclub incident, there were a lot of first responders who began suffering from PTSD after that night. And they weren't compensated, and they weren't eligible for compensation under the workers' compensation law. And so a group of activists approached Tallahassee and said, there's a problem with the system. And so after a lot of arguments and a lot of going back and forth, the legislature, both the House and the Senate, did end up unanimously passing the extension of workers' comp benefits to first responders. First responders, our ambulance, our police officers, our firefighters, anyone who's first on a scene of an accident or any kind of issue. So that's really a great thing that's just happened for the state of Florida.
And I know you deal a lot with workers' compensation. So kind of, on the basis here, is this something that you think will impact a lot of people and a lot of the clients moving forward?
Oh, I think there's been a tremendous number of people that have suffered from mental illness as a result of their jobs. And I don't know if this will be the segue into potentially other types of jobs being also compensated for some kind of mental injury as a result of their work-related accident. But at least for right now, those first responders are going to be compensated and don't have to worry about losing their jobs and losing their homes and not being able to pay for their livelihood because of suffering from PTSD.
I was going to, just to kind of summarize it, it's only first responders.
Only first responders right now, yes.
And so I know, as far as workers' comp and maybe first responders are kind of on that line and maybe thinking like, well, maybe I can actually go and apply for workers' comp now. I know a lot of times, paperwork and doctor's deadlines.
Correct.
How are those requirements, or is it still too early to see how the law is going to?
Well, you're still going to need to adhere to all the other requirements. Report the injury within 30 days of the accident occurring. You're still going to have paperwork. So nothing as far as the paperwork or the type of compensation that you would be receiving has changed. All it means now is you didn't have to suffer that physical component in order to have treatment for the PTSD. So basically what we're looking at is medical treatment for PTSD, whether by way of counseling, medications. If that results in time lost from work, you can be compensated under the system according to the rules for that. So it didn't open up new sets of compensation benefits. It's now just entitling them to those benefits they were otherwise not entitled to.
Is this something that Florida is just now, kind of getting on board, or is Florida leading the way with something like this?
I haven't done the research really to see where we are in Florida on that, but I would imagine that it's trending upwards that way.
Which is obviously a good thing to help.
Because mental health is a very big topic around the country right now.
Well, and so is workers' compensation, as we found
out.
Which, again, we do need to touch on the fact, workers' compensation, not all you do. You take care of any kind of elements under the legal system, correct?
Correct. Personal injury, Social Security. Give us a call, and if we don't know somebody, we'll help you find someone.
Okay. We always appreciate when you're here. If you want more information or maybe have some questions about your rights, well, feel free to give Catherine and her team a call, 1-800-BARBAS-LAW, or go to barbaslaw.com/knowyourrights.